Welcome, everybody, to week 3 of Rebels React to the entire filmography of Arnold Schwarzenegger. My name is Jordan.
And my name is Ethan.
And my name is Maya.
And this week we're talking about the Jayne Mansfield story. I almost said project because I keep saying that for some reason.
Is
The
that a
Jayne
thing?
Mansfield story. I don't know. And Conan the Barbarian.
Not the comedian.
Yeah. I was expecting him to make a cameo, and I was shocked when he didn't, but
He
it's
changed
okay.
his name after he saw the movie. He's
He
like,
was that
"That's who
inspired
I've
by
gotta
it.
be." Yeah.
He hasn't. I think he has the height down. He doesn't quite have the bulk.
He has the hair. His better hair.
I mean, he has hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has that hair. But yeah, both movies I had never seen before. Hadn't even heard of the Jayne Mansfield story. I don't
Nope.
even know if I had heard of
No,
Jayne
me
Mansfield
neither.
before.
Same.
That's what I was like realizing. I was like, oh, I think I actually know who you are. Like, not know, but have heard of.
I asked my mom at one point. I was like, "Do you know who Jayne Mansfield was?" She's like, "Yeah, she got decapitated." And I was like, "Oh, God."
That's right.
What?
Okay.
I have heard that. Yeah.
Oh, in the
Sounds like-
okay.
No,
Sorry.
before that.
She
She
went on to have a
survived.
very successful career. Yeah.
I don't know, but I usually when you hear that, you think like murder.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I don't know if I think
not-
murder when I
no.
hear decapitated.
No. Okay.
Usually. Murder? No. Executed? Yes.
Okay.
that's
Well,
still murder.
That's still murder.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
let's
But, like-
be clear.
Like
It's
in
a little
like in an
different.
intentional.
If there's like a house
Decapitation.
invasion, I don't feel like I usually hear about decapitations.
No, that
Right.
that most people don't have something to do that with. I think of The Office.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Michael Scott's former boss, he was decapitated. You don't remember that?
Crap,
No.
what was his
He
name?
just kept going around saying that. Ed.
He goes up to Pam. He's like, "Did you hear the news?" She's like, "You mean the news you just told us 15 seconds ago?" Yeah, I heard it. Oh,
He was
God.
affected. He wanted to talk about it. So we're going to talk about this.
Let's get into the Jayne Mansfield story. It is a 1980 biopic starring Lonnie Anderson and Arnold Schwarzenegger, directed by Dick Lowry, who went on to direct many more TV shows and TV movies. The movie starts out, and we learn that Jayne died when she was 36 years old in a car crash. We
Yep.
just get right to it.
And then the movie ends.
It's really sad. There's like no levity to this movie whatsoever, just death.
Mhm.
And oh no, let's go back to her birth in 1933. We kind of go back and forth between Jayne's life and Arnold, sort of not narrating, but like
Narrating.
sort of retroactively. Like, yeah, I guess he is narrating.
Oh,
right?
he was 100. I have it right here. Arnold is narrator.
I liked it though.
And that was also what I was going to say, is that it caught me off guard at first, but once it was, by the end, I was like, okay.
So he's talking to, I guess, like a reporter, kind of filling in some like shades of her life, and he shows this person a picture of Jayne with a gorilla. Definitely just a chimp.
Did they say it was a
not-
gorilla?
He's like,
Oh
here,
my
here's a
God.
picture of Jayne at the movie
No.
theater with a gorilla. Like, no. If she's holding it, that's not a gorilla. Unless, I guess maybe it's a baby or something. But
Could be.
so Jayne was a popcorn girl at a movie theater when she was 21. At the movie theater, we meet Jayne's daughter, who is, I think, I don't know, like 5, 6 or something like
Years
that.
old,
She's pretty young. Jayne is auditioning to be a movie star, and her husband doesn't believe in her. Jayne goes to an audition, and she flops completely and learns what she needs to be famous: lose weight, dye her hair, and be ditzy. But we learn that she's down for that. Like she's not.
She just wants to be famous. This scene really,
whatever it takes.
This scene really jumped out at me because it's so casually said. Like, all right, lose some weight, do that, and it's like,
Mhm.
okay, and it's just like, oh my goodness, this
And then
is
I can be
not
famous, like you
okay.
promise. Yeah.
This is just not okay, and it's like, just with everything that's happened in Hollywood recently,
Yeah.
and this just really exposed like what was going on in the 50s, and I just thought that whole side of it was really interesting.
It's crazy, yeah.
'Cause she did not need to lose any weight. Like,
No,
that's the thing.
Mhm.
but it's the whole bimbo
Mm-hmm.
thing, It's like it's really sad.
Yeah.
This
I
was
thought
also
it was really funny that like she played off that. She's like, this is what men like this is the only way I can get famous. And it was kind of just on how ridiculous that is.
Yeah.
That's what it takes. I
and
don't know.
blonde. There was this whole period where it was like
Yeah.
everybody be
You
blonde.
have to be blonde.
It's the
Yeah.
Marilyn thing.
That lasted for a long
everybody
time.
was chasing Marilyn.
That was
that's what
like
she said.
20 years.
Yeah.
20 or 30 years where it was like everybody be blonde, and that was like especially tied to California.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I would even remotely say that's a thing anymore.
Not even, no.
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully we learned in this movie, like, kind of around the time when that sort of style of, you know, the actor sort of died out. So
Yeah.
it's been a while since we were in that phase. Jane describes actors as personalities frozen in amber, as we see video of Marilyn Monroe on screen, which is kind of cool. Like, that is very true. Like, even long after you're dead, like, that spirit of what that person was and like their mannerisms and personality like live on forever, you know, as long as media is around. We see a video of Jane. She gets a agent, and she starts being like staged in these different locations, and she keeps accidentally losing her clothes. And I looked up, that was definitely a thing. Like, she kind of started the wardrobe malfunction.
That was what
phase.
first clued me in. I was like, I know who she is, because I remember reading something about that, and it was like, yeah, no, it very much was her. Like, this was her thing and her like way to get attention.
So
was
weird.
what she was doing like the start of burlesque, or
It's not burlesque.
no?
Burlesque is dance.
Because she would get pretty naked, no?
But burlesque is
like,
dance. That's like a show.
Okay.
She
And
was
that I would
like
imagine
just
has been around for a long time, right?
long
That
time,
sounds.
Okay.
She was literally just wardrobe malfunction in Playboy.
Got it.
Oh yeah, they very briefly kind of skirt over that, but she did go do like some Playboy shoots and stuff early on in her career as well.
Mm-hmm.
They don't dive too far into it, but so Jane does get herself a stage show. Nothing too serious, but it's popular, it's doing well, but she's always late to this show.
Yes.
Her oldest friend, Carol Sue Peters, comes to visit her at the show, and she hires her to be her personal assistant, which she accepts immediately. I also wanted to point out, I meant to say this at the beginning, everything that we say in this is what is depicted in the movie, not necessarily is fact.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's shades of truth and not truth in it, but we're just going based off of what happens in the movie.
All documentary footage.
Yeah.
She had a cameraman at all times.
Yep.
Jane sees Mickey Hargitay, I think is how his name was pronounced, an entertainment bodybuilder at a dinner show, and she wants to meet him. They begin dating and fall in love. And guess who Mickey is? It's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Now, when you heard,
seems almost perfect for the role, though.
well,
Like,
yeah,
almost.
So I looked it up and I was like, okay, like, why did he get picked? Why is he doing this? And it was like, yeah, she was with a Hungarian,
right?
Builder.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, okay, he's perfect. Like,
Yeah.
that's so close.
They're like, we don't have any acting Hungarian bodybuilders, but we have an Austrian one. He'll do. That's fine.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and he's totally fine.
That's the thing, same thing. Did
I
you recognize his name at all? Because his name popped out at me, but I was like, nah, that must be somebody else. Then it turned out, no, that is who I thought.
I'll tell you the only thing that popped in my head, and I don't know or think it's anything what you're thinking of. Wait, no, it can't be.
What? Say it.
Okay, when I saw the movie about I'm blanking, Judy Garland.
Yeah.
She dated a guy named Mickey, but that couldn't be the same.
Oh no, it wasn't the first name that I was thinking of. It was the last name. Hargitay. Mariska Hargitay. She's like the person on Law and Order SVU. I've always heard her name.
Oh, I did look this up. Yeah.
I've always heard her name, and I was like, oh no, they're not related. That's just a coincidence. And I'm like, oh no, that's his daughter. Okay.
Yeah. Is that their daughter?
I think so. Yeah.
It's their daughter, right?
I want to say yeah.
I think I did look that up. I didn't know who she was, but it's cool that there's still like traces of them.
I just
out
didn't
in the
expect
world.
to know any of the people or anything about them
Related to this.
at all. And it was like,
Yeah.
oh, I actually knew more than I was expecting.
That's pretty cool. So Mickey was a strongman in the circus. He was a carpenter, and he was an adagio dancer, which is, I guess, kind of, it's showing off your strength. You lift people up and you spin them around, and
There you go.
you dance around the floor, and it's pretty cool.
I couldn't do that.
No, I couldn't lift anybody. We learned that Jane is never satisfied. She's always eyeing after Marilyn Monroe, trying to be as perfect as. I think she really admires her, but she wants to be like as perfect as everyone seems to think that Marilyn is. Jane gets a multi-year movie contract with Fox, but Fox wants her to stop doing these promotional stunts that she's been doing, stop doing the Playboy shoots, and they want her to stop dating Mickey because they think he's a bad look for her.
Which I do not get.
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
That,
I think they wanted her to be single,
Just
and
single.
sought after.
Yeah.
That's
You know.
Go date some Hollywood person for more.
No, I don't think they wanted her to date anyone. I think
they don't want
wanted
guys
her.
to be like discouraged by her
Yeah.
being taken.
I could be with her.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
God, no,
Because
you
then
can't.
you go. Who knows? Arnold. We go to Jane's new house. She bought like a mansion in Hollywood. And I wrote down here that Arnold looks dope as hell in a cream suit.
Yeah.
I really liked his outfit. He's also just like the nicest, most supporting guy.
Yeah.
Ever.
It really, I really liked his character in this movie, and it made me sad. Not as sad as I thought it was going to be. Like, it didn't devolve as quickly as I thought it would. Like, they actually had a really nice relationship for a while.
Because of him.
Yes, but Jane doesn't want to marry him right away. But she does entertain the idea of marrying Mickey after her divorce to her previous husband, which she had her daughter with, is final. So she gets her first movie deal, and Mickey is not excited about it. He thinks it's goofy. He thinks it's a bad role for her.
He thinks she should wait and not take it, right? Yeah.
He's so patient. Like, he knows that she can be more successful if she doesn't take every single thing offered to her.
Yeah.
But she just wants to do more and more and more. I mean, she's an actor. Like, all she wants to do is act. She doesn't want to sit and do nothing. So I get that as well. But yeah, she doesn't really listen to him ever. Mickey owns his own bodybuilding equipment manufacturing business.
That's right.
And we get a lot of foreshadowing with Jane being reckless while they're driving her home from a party. She's really drunk in her pink Cadillac, and she like stands up in the car, and they almost get into a car accident. It's like, oh God, no, but we know that's not when she dies, but it's still just kind of foreboding. And
just terrifying in general. Like, what are you doing?
And why do you have that car?
The pink Cadillac?
It's so ugly.
It was given to her.
Well, I hate it.
I liked it.
So
it was pink.
that was something like that. The 50s, I think, have this very like, they're considered the golden, decade of America's peak, et cetera, and like, yeah, there's a lot of like the 50s aesthetic that I think is really cool. But this movie also exposed like, oh, there's a lot of stuff about the 50s that are not good.
A little
like
tacky.
Her heart-shaped bed with the phone
tacky.
Yeah. So
cabinet in the
perfect
headboard.
example.
And just so much pink, and like there's just so much that was so over the top, but like still some classy stuff. But then you add that just to how people treat each other, like, and just like that whole dynamic of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, it's much more appealing in hindsight, like the mystique of it rather than the reality. And I think this, I mean, it was made in 80, so people, it was not that far before.
Not really. Not in the grand scheme of things.
No, it'd be like making something from the 90s now. We could pull that off pretty easily.
That's so crazy, yeah. Speaking of how people treat each other, I did want to point out, I actually really liked her agent. I feel like agents a lot of times can be kind of scummy and just trying to use you for success. And obviously he's trying to be successful too, but I think he really did care about her.
Yep, I agree.
And he wanted her to make better decisions as well.
And I think that's kind of what I was saying was like he was a good guy, yet still some of the stuff he said was just so like culturally the norm.
Yeah, right.
But at the same time, like over the movie, I was like, oh, this guy's awesome. Like I really like this guy. Like he's looking out. He's trying to look out for her. You know, especially after at the beginning, he was like, "Hey, you're nothing." And
there were scenes where he and Arnold, or where Mickey met up, and it like gave me terror flashbacks to A Star Is Born when her agent met with Bradley Cooper and just like told him he was nothing and like you should leave her. She's better without you. I'm like, oh God, please don't. But no, like they were totally cool.
Yeah.
Like, the agent liked Mickey. The studio didn't like Mickey, but the agent's like, hey, what's up, man? Like, good to meet you. Glad you guys are happy. It's like, yeah, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
We learned that Jane's dad had a heart attack and died right in front of her when she was 3 years old. She calls Mickey daddy when he carries her to her room, showing how much she cares for him. Because she, I think her friend said that she doesn't really ever say that she says that she loves anybody, like except for a few certain people.
Yeah, her daughter.
Her daughter, like, would have been her dad, and then now it seems like she really cares for Mickey.
Yeah.
While Jane is on tour promoting the movie, Mickey signs a deal promoting exercise equipment on TV. She also takes a bath while pouring bottles of champagne in the water, and I thought that was disgusting.
I thought that was disgusting too. I was like,
that's sticky.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Why?
Bubble bath. Champagne flavored bubble bath. How about that? Not
Bubbly.
champagne itself.
Or just drink champagne while you're
bubbly
in the
bath. That's a great idea.
Oh my God.
It's bubbly.
We're gonna start that.
Bubbly
Yes.
bath. Like
Bubbly bath, yeah.
The name? Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll get Michael Bublé. Just
Copyright.
Keep using him. It doesn't even matter.
Just haven't. That's not him. Jane's next movies were not nearly as successful, and some Playboy shoots that she did around the same time did not help her image. She says to her friend one time, get Hugh on the phone, like just like she needs cash. I need to go do a Playboy shoot. Call Hugh. It's like that's such a weird thing to be able to do. You have him on speed dial. Hey, can I take some pictures and get some money?
Yeah. Really.
Jane works a deal with the head of Fox, Conway. Is the head of Fox's name, to finally get the leading role she's been dreaming of in the Jean Harlow story, but her agent doesn't trust Conway. Conway finally admits to Jane that he never planned on making this movie, and he just led her on to keep her in line. This is when it happens. Jane, in a moment of desperation, insinuates that she'd be willing to sleep with Conway to get what she wants. Her agent, who is a refreshingly nice and caring guy, talks her down and convinces her that she should marry Mickey and trust that everything will work out.
Yep.
Just showing that he has her best interests in mind. But yeah, she's like,
it's crazy. Like she didn't realize she already got the part in the Jayne Mansfield story. She didn't need the Jean Harlow story.
It's like, why are you playing someone else? You already have your own part. You're literally.
I thought that was interesting though. That was like she wanted to.
Don't you see the documentarian behind you?
Do that, and she ended like that movie. Like if you imagine like that was a real thing that happened, like that the real Jayne Mansfield wanted this, and like ended up that movie that never existed got the movie about her with the similar name. It's just interesting.
I mean, I don't know if the Jean Harlow story ever actually was a real thing. I don't think it was.
It wasn't. That's what I'm saying.
No, but if they ever even made something about her,
like a fake one.
Anyways.
Oh yeah.
We see Jane start to lose control of herself, thinking of everything as a publicity stunt, forgetting who the real Jane is and who the character Jane is, and beginning to drink more and more and more.
When she starts talking about herself in third person.
Yes,
that was.
Yeah, she doesn't see herself as like
it's a character.
She's just a character. Yeah. Not even an actor. She's just she is that. What'd you say? Personality, frozen in amber. Like that's how she thinks of herself now.
Yeah.
Jane and Mickey get married. And she's planning just the most extravagant, gaudy, expensive wedding ever. Which her friend tries to dissuade her from. Jane then becomes pregnant, but she still wants to do movie deals, but her agent tells her to wait for a good one and work on her image. Jane uses the birth of her son as a publicity stunt, wanting to drive to the hospital in the pink Cadillac and look for the perfect dress after having her baby.
That was the wedding too. The whole thing was don't use this as and she did. And that hurt because Mickey was such a nice guy.
He didn't need anything, He's like
continually, and she just kept using him. It felt like, to, the wedding for this, and then your child. It was like he didn't even exist.
Right.
It just kept getting sadder and sadder.
Mm-hmm.
There was the scene when he gets the phone call and then he comes rushing out of the driveway in the car. I'm like, oh God, what happened? And I'm like, oh, we're just driving to the hospital because she's having the baby. Like that. It's like, oh, I keep I know when she dies, but I kept getting scared at every emergency. Mickey gives a monologue explaining that the dumb, sexy blonde was becoming a thing of the past. It was the 60s now, the era of Kennedy, rock music, and the Beatles. Which seemed to be kind of a turning point for how people were sort of thought of and visualized. Marilyn Monroe dies, and Jane hopes that there will be more room for her in Hollywood now, which was really a sad thing because, again, I think she looked up to her, but also she was so extremely jealous of her that she was almost excited that Marilyn had died.
Shows you how far gone she was.
Yeah, she had no rationale anymore. Jane gets offered a residence for a topless stage show, and she hates the idea of it. And I don't know why she hated the idea of it, since she was so down to do Playboy shoots and stuff.
I think she jumped
didn't
away.
Want people grabbing at her.
I think she jumped away from that, and then she's talking to this guy, and she's like, "Oh, finally a real opportunity." And he's like, "A topless thing," and it's just like, "You've got to be kidding me."
Yeah. Okay. True. Yeah. It was the expectation.
Yeah.
But she wants to do more Playboy shoots to support her until the next great idea. Mickey is disgusted by what she's turned into, and they get divorced. We jump years ahead.
Threw multiple glasses at him.
That was chaos.
That shattered.
That was chaos. Yeah.
I remember that. She went psycho.
Yeah, she was
in the dining room or up in the room.
I remember them multiple times
because it really did devolve into absolute chaos with everyone clumping around her. It was
terrifying. And her best friend was after who I was then realized I was like, she showed up and then just stayed for 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, she had a good job. Yeah, why not?
I'm sure it paid well. But I think it was in the scene when Marilyn died. Her friend is leaving and she's like, I told you this was happening, and she's like, well, Jane's like, it's not a good time, maybe you could stay a little bit longer.
She had no recollection of her even talking.
It's really, really sad. We jump years ahead and learn that Jane has already been married and divorced again and is currently working a nightclub act. We finally get back to where the movie started. Jane hopes to reconnect with Mickey and heads home after the show. We see now that her kids are in the car and they get into an accident that kills her. And thankfully, her kids were fine.
So we were wondering, was anybody else killed?
The people in the front seat were killed. The kids in the back were safe, yeah.
So,
because it's weird in the movie, she tells them to lay down, right, to sleep, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually what happened or if that's what saved them, but I imagine that's why they survived the crash in the movie.
So the thing that was yes, we know it, you think about it, whatever, but the casualness of which people just get into cars and sit down and don't put a seatbelt on is so jarring.
Yeah.
And you think they're not even I know this is really dangerous. They're just get in the car. Get in the car, and this is what you do. You get in a car. You don't wear a seatbelt. And
there weren't even seats. It was that bench seat. Yeah. Oh, it's it just seems so unsafe. And I looked up also. She was not decapitated. She just had severe head trauma.
Okay.
I was but she died pretty much immediately.
Okay, there we go.
But hey, thankfully, no decapitations, no murders. All right.
The Jayne Mansfield not decapitation story.
That'd be a really confusing title. What else happens in this movie?
She was not decapitated.
Any other?
I want to give a shout out to Arnold. I think he killed it.
Yeah, I think he did a really good job too in this.
I agree.
I had low expectations, and he was his acting was really good. It didn't come off cheesy even.
No.
I think it's just because he's so like charming and endearing.
Yeah.
He's so lovable that even if he is acting badly, you don't even notice it.
Yeah.
He's just so nice to have on screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I also give a shout out to the quality of this video on YouTube that we watched this?
Pixel Arnold and
amazing. I was so
was
upset. I wanted to find it somewhere
on.
else. Oh, so bad.
Does it exist anywhere else?
I'm sure it does somewhere, but like
I imagined like this movie doesn't exist. That was 4K.
Oh god.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
I do.
Like that was just what they were filming.
Oh, it's so awful.
Blocky people.
Yeah. That was the first. Ethan looked at me, and first thing he said, he was like, "Wait, can we even watch this?"
I did question it a little bit. I'm like,
yeah.
Is this appropriate? Like, can I do this for this movie? I'm like, I think I have to.
But if I think about it here, it's 4K.
Yeah.
Right?
I know everything that happens.
You build the picture.
You build the picture. It's like these old video games, right? You think back to them and they look perfect. And then you pull it up, you're like, oh, that doesn't look like how I remember it, because you fill in the blanks. Our brain automatically fills in the blanks.
Exactly, yeah. It's like, do you ever watch videos that are out of sync, like the audio and the video, but your brain kind of like puts them into sync after a
that
little while?
hurts.
Yeah, that hurts.
That hurts. I can't do it.
Really difficult.
It's not even a can do it. It's just your brain kind of does. If it's like minimal, but your brain does it over time.
If it's minimal, but if it's more than a second, I can't watch that. No. Yeah, if it's just off, it'll sync it up a little bit.
It's kind of cool. Shall we get into Conan?
I don't know. Do we have more to say on
Jayne Mansfield?
Jayne Mansfield, or are we saving that?
Do you have anything you want to add?
Well, we're saving our like thoughts of the movie for the end, but just like, you know what I mean? Whether we liked it or not, we'll save for the end.
Okay.
Anything you want to add here then?
Well, I guess something like I was taking away from this was how, as much as things have changed, things haven't changed that much, because I still feel like there's a lot of people just like on YouTube and everything that like just play this persona of like, this is who I am, this is like how I'm gonna get famous. And then it's almost impossible to like break out of that
and to keep up with it,
and to keep up with it. Yeah, because at some point you're gonna be like old news or something. And so I don't know. I recently watched the Paris Hilton documentary on YouTube. Did you guys watch that?
No.
No? Okay, you guys should watch.
I'm definitely not gonna watch that.
That's why I'm on the show.
Someone told me about that, and they're like, Paris is actually a lot smarter than she makes herself seem.
Yeah. Exactly. And so like when I was watching this, that was like the comparison that I don't know that I came across with, was like, oh, it's so sad, because she also said it in her documentary, not to give anything away, but she said that like nobody really knows her. That nobody really knows her, and that she's kind of just developed this persona.
That's what happens when you intentionally create something and put it out there.
And it's like, well, like that's kind of what we had to go off of, and you know, I don't know. I thought it was interesting that even years later, like it's still happening, and I'm sure there's a lot more.
No, it is, and I mean, like Kim Kardashian was then like the next iteration of that, but I feel like she's almost kind of
broke out.
I feel like she's doing her thing.
Yeah,
you know, you know, her life still is like so.
She really is that annoying.
We do shine a light on her life, you know, just as much because of who she is, but like I feel like she isn't playing a part. You know, she's not trying to live up to anything. I think she's just doing her thing, which is nice, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Yeah.
That I hadn't even thought of Paris Hilton in the same way, but yeah, she totally is that same kind of. And she acted too, right? She do movies?
Sure.
I think she did shows, but. Yeah, again, they were always like silly. Nothing where
didn't do a serious
piece or anything like that. And for her to come out with this documentary, which is pretty serious, and just kind of like a background story about her life, and what she's experienced and stuff, was very different. Definitely not what I was like expecting.
Yeah,
you know. But then she does like still hop back and forth between those like two people. It's almost like a coping mechanism.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
It's like you feel comforted by being
Mhm.
the character that everyone
Yep.
knows and loves. Yeah.
Like that, yeah. Like you can't handle somebody judging who you really are.
But they can
Yeah.
judge.
But they
this
can
So
is-
judge
it's
this.
like it's a mask. Yeah.
Yeah, they can judge this character all they
It's
want.
Girl
weird
Meets-
'cause you
Girl
are
Meets
still
World.
just the same person.
Girl Meets World has a good episode about this.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's move
Well,
on to Conan.
let's jump back to a time where women were much more well respected in
Oh
Conan
my
the
God.
Barbarian.
Such a great
1982.
transition. Such a great transition.
Conan is a 1982 action adventure starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, James Earl Jones, Sandal Bergman, and Ben Davidson. Those two playing characters whose names I don't think I ever heard. And you'll see that reflected in my notes because I don't mention their names once. They're just the people with Arnold.
Yep.
The girl with Arnold and his friend.
Yep.
That's how we
Literally said
know
his
them.
friend.
Yep.
Also, do you know who played the king?
Yes, Mufasa.
No, he wasn't the king.
Not
he
that
wasn't the king?
The-
Oh, not
the
that
king
guy.
who's-
And he already
whose
named him.
Oh.
daughter went to be with the
They
with
rested.
culty people. Max von Sydow.
Hey!
This will begin to make things right. I wouldn't have recognized him honestly if I hadn't read that.
He looked familiar, not who I would have thought that he was.
Yeah. This
Lord
is directed by
Santeca. Lord Santeca.
Yes.
Lord Santeca.
the guy at the beginning
Force
of episode
Awakens.
7.
He gives,
Okay.
You know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
This was directed by John Milius, who went on to direct Red Dawn, most notably. But he was also a writer on Apocalypse Now, which, we're finally getting into some actual, like, real credits here.
Yeah.
People who've done notable things. I said it was refreshing to see a Universal logo at the beginning of this movie.
So
Yes.
that was what I was like. I was like, oh, so this is like his first official, like
kind of
in
big
studio
break.
movie.
theaters, big. I'm Arnold.
Yeah, this was a summer blockbuster kind of movie.
And he was the star of it,
Mhm.
so
Oh yeah, he was.
there's more to say. Go ahead.
We start with Conan as a kid, learning from his father about the earth god Crumb and the secret of steel. He is told to
Crumb.
trust no one, only to trust his sword. He says that a lot.
Yeah, I didn't know what he was talking about. I was like, Grom? Who is Grom? Why do you keep randomly saying Grom? Okay.
I thought it was called the
Because he's a
Yeah.
barbarian, bro. He's a barbarian. What do you mean? He just moans things.
Yeah.
Conan's village is attacked by Magneto and his clan, and many members of the village are killed. Conan's father is stabbed and eaten alive by 2 dogs. The attackers keep passing the sword around to the
Keep
person
going.
above them, and having a staring contest with every person in their clan and Conan's very attractive mom. Like, no joke, they stare for so long. I'm not kidding. It's like a minute-long scene of them
I
just
know.
looking at each other. It's like, okay, I don't know what's happening here.
Can I
And
just
then guess
add
what?
that this isn't a comedy, even though we're laughing?
Kind of is, though. I know it's not, but
Oh God! Continue.
guess what? Conan's mom is beheaded
There you go.
while holding Conan's hand, and she's beheaded with his father's sword, just to add insult to injury. Conan and the other children of the village are taken prisoner and forced to walk alongside with the attackers on horseback. So who knows how far they went? Maybe a mile, maybe 1,000 miles. But the
Who
poor
knows?
kids had to walk. All of the group's prisoners are chained to this like wheel in the ground thing that they have to just push around in circles endlessly.
What it
And
did. Nobody knows.
I really wanted to see the results of it, but it's just a punishment, I think. It had to have been doing something. Actually, I
Right?
think what it was doing was just creating warriors.
I
Because
see.
by the end of it, Conan is, I don't know, we've progressed like 20 years, and he is jacked. He's been pushing this wheel for 20 straight years.
Only
and
one left too. By
All
the
of
end
his
it.
muscle groups are just so well formed now. Who knows what he's been eating? Did they give him like protein powder, to help him grow those muscles, or was he just pushing? I don't know. He's the only one left spinning the wheel, and he's taken off the wheel and forced to fight a man in a pit for sport. He almost loses, but he finds a way to beat this guy. The guy had really sharp teeth, like really sharp teeth.
Really?
And
Yeah. He bit
bites
him.
into Arnold, and it's kind of disgusting. How did he kill him? Did he? Oh yeah, he bashes him into the wall to death.
Right.
Not even just his head. He just slams him into the wall until he's
What else
dead.
can you do if you don't have sharp teeth? Like, you can't bite him back.
It's very true. He goes on to fight and kill many more people in this arena to the cheers of the villagers. But he is still a prisoner. He is traded to fight, fed well, and presented with women in the hopes of producing more men like him. And I couldn't tell, was he like caring for the girl, or was he just getting her comfortable? Okay. Because at first it looked like, oh, he's nice.
Yeah. She
No,
was terrified.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah. He wraps the you
yeah,
know,
and I was like, oh, he's not gonna
jacket.
do it. He's just gonna
Yeah.
like,
here, no, just lay here. Now take that off. Okay.
now take that off. Now that it's not any more private than it was.
No, not at all. There's
No.
still just a window
Yeah.
right there.
Yep.
Anyways, good old Conan. He is freed by one of his captors for some reason. I don't know why
Nope.
that guy let him go.
Nope.
He was like, he's been with him this entire time, but
But he let him go. I guess he wasn't making him money anymore. I don't know. Like, but he was free.
That's a good point, maybe. And I don't know.
Yeah.
He stumbles on an old cave trying to survive a pack of hunting dogs. In this cave is a skeleton sitting on a throne. And this man is holding a sword, which I thought was his father's sword, but I don't think so.
Nope.
It was just
we
a
had to
sword.
look it up. Yeah. It just
Can I ask a question?
yeah.
Do you know what I'm going to ask?
No.
Why isn't Ethan speaking?
I don't know.
Why
Sorry, I was
do you
keeping in tune with the movie.
Insist. Okay.
You know how there was no talking in the movie? So I figured I would just do the same for the podcast
Well,
while we talk about the movie.
Oh.
we're
I
about
did
to
make
get
my
to the next point where I guess
noise
the
that
first
we
words.
got-
You're right. You're
that
right.
we got from Arnold. His famous noise that he makes.
What do you expect from a movie about a barbarian? I didn't think there was going to be any dialogue.
Was it a
from,
movie
like,
about a barbarian,
American
though?
accents.
We also talked about that. It seems
No.
like Arnold is not a barbarian.
No,
And
he's
the
pretty well
people-
civilized.
And the people he fought against were the barbarians.
Not even. There were.
So can I talk now? Is there?
Yes, I would love for you to.
I really didn't have anything to add to anything that was said up until that point.
That's a good point. Yeah, fair enough.
There you
And
go.
honestly, I liked what you were doing. I just didn't know. I wanted to know why you weren't talking, and now I know, and I like it. Did he give himself a haircut at this point with the sword?
Did he?
I feel
don't
like when he came out of the cave, his hair was like up to here now.
But then it got long at the end.
Yeah, it was long.
Yeah,
I
it did.
don't think he cut it.
The passage of time in this movie is really impossible to
It doesn't exist.
discern. So here we go. Here's a fun part. Conan meets a woman who has heard of a prophecy of a man of great strength who will come from the north and become king.
Oh, the witch. That's right. He just finds this random
Oh my
witch
God.
woman. I forgot about this.
We don't know she's a witch yet. Hold on.
Wait, we didn't. Oh, yeah.
She will defeat the people who attacked his village when he was a kid. She will tell him where to go, but for a fee. They then get down and dirty, and she tells him where to go while they're doing the thing. You know, she's like moaning and telling him. But she then turns into some kind of demon, and he throws her into the fire. She turns into a flame and flies away. This was very scary. I did not like this scene. First of all, the like pretty
He looked this-
almost graphic sex scene with all the dialogue that's happening, and then she turns into some creature that wants to kill him. Like, I did not.
I
Did not.
have nothing to say. Nothing to say. Continue on.
He sleeps in her house. He's like, cool, thanks for the
Yeah.
for the roof for the night. And when he's leaving, he meets a friend on the road. Friend. That's literally all I'll call him for the rest of the
Wasn't he chained up?
for the movie.
Yes.
He looked
was.
like it. He was just kind of a. I don't think he was.
He was asking for food.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Was he like her prisoner?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, interesting. And then they run across the desert for who knows how long, from city to city, trying to hunt down this clan that Conan is looking for. Oh, that the witch told him about. There's this evil clan. Conan backs into a camel and punches it to death.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he was pissed at it. He's like, "What the hell, man?"
That was so sad.
Yep.
That was one of the saddest parts.
I thought it was hilarious. It just topples over.
No.
It's like the tauntaun in episode 5 when it's like, nah.
Yeah, except it wasn't punched by Han.
Right. But maybe it should. Well, it was cut open with a lightsaber, so
I'm
you
sure
know,
it
which
was
is worse.
dead
Well, yeah, you're right.
from natural causes. Not just randomly punched.
Hypothermia. Yeah, I know. But we have to show how strong he is. You know, he's a barbarian after all.
But not.
So they're in this city, and there's this snake tower, which they've heard is very evil. And they attempt to infiltrate the tower in the city that's believed to be linked with this clan. And they come across a woman who's trying to do the same. She tells Conan to climb the tower first, and he literally goes last. She tells him, she's like, "All right, fine, you go first." And he's the last one up and over the wall. I'm like, what was the point of that? We see inside this tower is some kind of cult. The woman infiltrated the cult members by like dressing up like them, while Arnold and his friend go farther down, and they come across the largest snake I have ever seen, guarding this jewel, which never really becomes important again. Conan and his friend kill the snake before a woman sacrifices herself to it. Everyone is then alerted to Conan's presence. The three make a quick and easy escape. That snake terrified me. I didn't.
He killed it.
It's not the only snake in this movie to terrify me, but that snake terrified me.
Yes.
More
snakes.
Yes.
Yeah, he just like jammed his sword up under its mouth.
Over and over.
And then it also reminded me of episode 6 with the Rancor and the guy crying that thing is dead, because we found out later
totally
that this guy raised this snake from, infantry. And
this came out before a year before Return of the Jedi.
Oh wow, it's so weird that that's the point in time that we're in.
Yeah,
like Star Wars is already rocking and awesome.
So really shows where Star Wars was compared.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because these people were trying.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
This probably at the time was an awesome movie, but now looking back on it with the context of Star Wars, like, we'll see. The three are captured. They go off and they celebrate. They stole this jewel and they have all this money now, and they celebrate in the town. But they're captured and taken to a king who actually appreciates them for standing up to this snake cult, who he hates for kind of ruining the. They're in his kingdom, and he hates that they're kind of like infecting it.
Yeah.
The king's daughter has fallen for this cult and left to meet the leader Thulsa Doom. The king pays them to retrieve his daughter.
It's not Salsa Doom, because that's what I was going with for most of the movie until I looked it up. I'm like, Salsa Doom?
I thought it was Thulsa Dune.
There you go.
Like sand dune.
Salsa Dune. Ooh, a dune made of salsa.
Tulsa is a pretty cool name, though.
It is, if you can understand.
If you hear that, yeah. So they are tasked with retrieving the king's daughter. Conan's new girlfriend doesn't want to go. She wants to take the money and live their best lives, but Conan leaves in the middle of the night, desperate to get revenge on Salsa and these snake cult people. And then I wrote this down as he's wandering through the desert. Can you imagine searching for something where you have literally no idea where it is, where you are, how far you've gone, like what direction you're supposed to go? He's just wandering looking for something.
You just go and cut the montage, and then you'll get there.
Interesting. So you have to have like Premiere in your head and just like chop that part out, and then you'll just fast travel there.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Conan stumbles across the narrator of the story so far, who's been talking about his master and how great Conan is, and apparently he's just this guy in the desert, who is supposedly a wizard. Conan takes a camel from him and some flowers, attempting to blend in with some people that he came across while he was traveling. There was like a group of people with like white robes, and they were holding flowers. So he's blending with them. He finds their
No, he needed
town.
them for a girl. The flowers are for a girl.
They're not
Salsa for salsa.
That's what he said.
He did
He's
say
like,
that, right?
Why do you need flowers? They're for a girl.
And then they laugh.
And then
Okay.
they weren't.
Nope. They were just to blend in. The cultists, they seem to be cultists at this point. This is kind of when I guess we already knew that. And the people he is looking for, Conan infiltrates the group by disguising himself as one of their priests, who he takes back behind a rock, and I think they're gonna.
Hey,
in the most obvious way.
hey, you want to go over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, over there.
I'm a little uncomfortable here. Do you want to
Where
go
no
hide
one
behind
can
that?
see us. He also says this. Do you want to go over there where no one can see us? And the guy says, sure.
Well, yeah, he wants Conan, man. He's eyeing him. He's like,
That's
I'll
what
do
she
whatever
said.
you need.
That's
Oh,
what
he
she said.
definitely
You want to go
wanted
over there? Hey, man, let's go over there. I see those
That's-
muscles.
Okay.
Absolutely what he wanted.
Okay.
And then he like looks at his like apparel, rubs it, and was like, "Is this a priest's outfit?" Like he legitimately asks that guy that, and the guy answers, and it's just like, how do you not see what's coming? Like,
So
how do you not see it?
I wrote down that he disguised himself as one of their priests, which I would have thought is like one of the higher ups. Literally everyone else is wearing the same outfit.
No, it had like color on it.
It had color
Did it
and
have like an
writing
extra
on it.
thing?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, it was so simple. It was so close that I guess that's how he ends up becoming like the farthest up person out of.
No,
this
that was
entire
his green thing.
This whole scene confused the hell out of me, but
Hey, can I go? My seat's up there. I promise. I have my ticket. My seat's up there. Just excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
There's
Excuse me. I
ushers.
promise you. I have friends. I have friends at the front.
See, I have
I
this
have
green
friends at the
thing.
front.
Anyway,
Oh,
he
man.
finally meets a guard that just
He takes it. He's like, oh, okay.
He's like, oh, this thing's really cool. Let me take it.
And then I'm like, oh, you can just,
You don't- yeah, you
he's
don't
the
go
last guy you have to get past. You can just go to the front now.
Yep. So like Thulsa's there and he's like giving a speech or something, but I think he knows that Conan is there because, like you said, he had turned in the green thing, and the word must have gotten to him, and then they capture.
Well, that guy immediately went to go give that to somebody.
Yeah, which is I guess they knew it was stolen, but
No.
see, I didn't realize at first how they knew he was there. I'm like, what the hell just happened? But then I remembered the medallion. I'm like, okay, that must have been.
And then Conan was like,
giveaway for
I'm just gonna sit on the steps right here.
He was pretty.
He was into it. He's like, hey.
Did
But
he?
he was pretty reckless. Like he didn't
Yeah.
do this very well.
Did he not think they were gonna recognize him?
I don't know.
He got away pretty easily the last time.
Because we see a couple of the guys that were in the snake tower from earlier.
Yeah.
Also,
they saw
the
him.
two guys that were there when his parents were murdered.
Those two guys. Yes.
They're just always
the
around.
two guys. The one with the mustache and the other with no facial hair.
The barbarian, washed up rock band. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Thulsadun and his henchmen, they know that they're there, and they torture Conan because they want to know where the jewel is, but again, they don't really ever retrieve it or care.
We missed something.
Did we?
We missed one of the most epic scenes, I think.
What did we miss?
Where he stands with his sword.
Yes.
And
the classic, the
and
pose.
he goes, whoosh, whoosh, wah, while he's holding his toy sword. That looks ridiculous, I have to say.
You didn't like it?
No. That was,
it looked like plastic.
the sword was like shorter than his arm.
It's Conan, man. He's a barbarian.
Apparently.
Or maybe his
huge.
arm is so big that it makes it look.
That's what Jordan's saying, basically.
Yeah. But did the sword itself look good, or was it just that it was so small?
No,
Both. No.
both.
The quality
No.
was bad? I didn't even notice.
It looked like plastic.
Yeah.
I'd like to think it wasn't, but probably for safety reasons, it probably was.
Yeah. Should have been metal.
Yeah. So Conan's being tortured, and
Oh, yeah. No, isn't he immediately from the steps to like covered in blood?
Yeah. There's really no transition.
I was really
Just
afraid for him. I was
smashed
like,
into the
yeah,
ground.
you.
Oh, it was brutal.
I was like, what were you? You came in with no plan.
Mm-mm. But we've seen movies like that, where it's just a young, vengeful powerful guy. She's like, I'm just gonna go kill people. It's like, nah, sometimes you have to have a little bit more. You have to have a team, you have to have a plan. And he realizes this because he fails miserably. Salsa's giving him a speech, and it is literally at this point that I realized that this is James Earl Jones. I had no idea who this guy was until
okay, so
Same.
I put that down. It wasn't at this point, but it was definitely not at the beginning. It was somewhere in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
That I was like, that's James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
I
Because
remember seeing his name at the intro.
Right. I saw the name, immediately forgot.
Immediately.
Wasn't looking for him. At the
No.
beginning, I know you see his face and his like weird long hair but
Didn't
short
know
on
that was
top.
him.
Didn't know that was him.
Couldn't
But it
even
was his
tell.
voice that was like, oh my god, that's Darth Vader. And
I
then
looked
I
at
was
Ethan and I
much
was like,
more.
Is that Mufasa?
It's like,
That was
yeah.
my reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was much more into this movie at this point. I was like, oh, okay. Now that I actually have like a reference point for this guy, like I'm kind of down.
This is also where it gets better.
True. There's a lot more going on after this. Thulsa tells Conan that he believes that flesh is stronger than steel because steel is nothing without the flesh that wields it. He since he's like a cult leader, he tells this girl who's standing up on a rock up above him to come to him, and she just jumps off to her death.
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
Which
see?
we were
Flesh is much more
told
powerful.
by the wizard that his followers live for only one purpose, and that is to die for him.
Ugh. Yeah. So creepy.
Great idea.
He then has Conan crucified on the tree of woe. Like, oh my god, this is dark. Like, this guy is much more evil than Darth Vader ever wished to be.
Yeah.
Like, leagues more evil. Conan's sidekick and girlfriend somehow find him and rescue him, even though he's out in the middle of the desert somewhere. He's just running, like, where?
Damn it, he's gone. Wait. No, it was just a hill. He's here.
Oh, good. Okay, don't die yet. Don't die yet. Oh, God, he's gone again. Okay, I'm going to die now. They ask the wizard to do whatever they can to save him. The wizard predicts that the gods will try to take Conan in the night, and his friends literally hold him down to keep him there while these, like, weird ghost things are, like, picking him up, and there's lightning everywhere, and it was,
As weird as this was, I actually appreciate this kind of a depiction of a demon, because when I always think of a demon, it's never a physical thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was like a weird, like, metaphysical thing that, like, also kind of existed, but also kind of didn't exist. I feel like so many times, like, a demon is just, like, a person.
Yeah.
That is not a person. And I'm like, nah, like, I have to say, as weird as this was, I kind of appreciated that.
Oh, that was cool. Yeah. Very creepy, too. Just that...
At the same time,
like, could they see them? Do you think they could see them, or was that for us?
I think they could see them.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be even worse. It's like you can see who's trying to take this guy.
You
And
can't,
you're like having to fight it.
Grab it. You're just kind
Not
of
tangible.
You can hit it. Though.
But it's not. But you can't feel it.
Okay.
Right. That I thought was kind of cool.
Also,
But
was
they
this guy a
can
wizard?
Yeah. Sure.
Or did he just think he was?
No, he's a wizard. Sure.
Oh, how about all the like weird writing that he wrote on?
Wizard writing.
It looked more like what I would write on myself in like middle school, not on my face, but just it literally looked like a Sharpie, and they just went over his face with a bunch of random symbols, everywhere. Like it was very kind of off-putting.
Wrapped him in a black thing and tied him down.
Yep.
Yeah, and it works. Conan comes back to life.
He was dead.
You're right. He didn't die, but he was going to die that night. But
he was healed.
They saved his life. Yes.
Next morning, he was back to normal.
He looks fantastic.
Yes.
And then he does wield his sword around a little bit at this point too, like on the coast. We realize now that they're on a coast, and it's like really nice.
That's the scene.
See, I got too ahead. That's the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
we can see now, like he's ready.
Yeah.
He is now a true barbarian now.
I'm sorry.
Right. With a plastic sword.
That scene was ridiculous. It did not hype me up at all.
It needed some like epic 80s movies, 80s music behind it to like really get you into the.
I just didn't think he looked impressive with the sword.
Right.
Yeah, I feel you. What about his hair though? Does his hair look good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Conan's friends believe that in
Not gonna
order to
hate.
save the princess, they must be smart and tactical thieves, not vengeful ones.
Mhm.
They want to kill Thulsa Doon, but it will have to be another day. But Conan does not verbally agree. They're like, we can't kill Thulsa today. He's like, sure, yeah, let's go with that. The three of them sneak into the back door of the mountain that Thulsa Doon lives in, which seems like a terrible security flaw, and work their way in until they find a massive orgy, a huge bowl of body part soup, and Thulsa Doom sitting on a giant mound watching the whole thing while doing absolutely nothing. Oh wait, no, he's literally turning into a massive snake. This is horrifying. What the hell am I watching? That's what I wrote down.
Yep. Perfect.
Perfect.
Absolutely nailed.
Because all of a sudden I was like, he's starting to do weird facial.
What is happening to his face? What's going on here? But we have to remember, like, it wasn't just a backdoor security flaw. They put black on their face, and so no one could see them. But not their whole face, just like right here.
Just a stripe.
Yeah,
Just like
just
a
like
tiger
here.
stripe.
Here.
And
Yeah.
and
Here.
then no one could see
And it
them.
was perfectly straight lines. Like they had tape or something that they peeled.
What was that? What was that gonna? Was that a disguise
It was
or
camouflage.
Sure. Oh god, I love it so much. They violently start murdering all of the men in the room while Thulsa slithers away into this gross hole in the wall. Thulsa's henchmen, who look like members of a failing barbarian rock band, as I said earlier, enter to try to stop them. There's just tons of blood everywhere. Everyone's dead. As the three of them are riding away, Thulsa shoots a rigid snake with a bow and kills Conan's girlfriend as they ride
Snake
away.
arrow.
He whispers to her, he's like,
But-
go
but-
find death or something.
Was that the convenient back door that they used? Because they went
think
from
it was.
temple to they were escaping. Just got to get around this corner. Wait, they're already there?
Yeah.
Waiting for what? Wait, if we had gone left, we would have been fine.
Right. It's like there was a path down this mountain and it zigzags, and they followed the path instead of just going straight. It's like, nope, just get out of here as quickly as you can. These stupid horses can't go anywhere but the trail.
Yep.
So yeah, Conan's girlfriend is dying, and she says, "Let me breathe my last breath into your mouth."
To your mouth?
Which
Yes!
which is something I could have gone my whole life without hearing. That really, really disturbed me.
I wrote that down. It's so bad. That was so bad.
They are really in love for only having like really one passionate night together.
I
Right.
feel like it was more her.
I really don't feel like he
He
cared that
didn't
much
say,
at all.
yes, please, breathe into my mouth. He's just like,
Oh. And she essentially tells him that she will haunt him for the rest of his life. She doesn't say that, but she's like,
Oh my
I will
God.
come back from the gates of hell to fight alongside you. He's like, no,
He's
it's
just
cool.
like,
I'm
dude,
just
you
gonna go
are
on living my life.
so into me. Because she'd been alone, remember, for her whole life. This is the first time she was ever not
But
alone.
so is he.
No, he had people.
Oh my god, I love it. I love it so much. Conan, his sidekick, and the wizard attempt to booby trap and fortify the wizard's base, anticipating Thulsa to attack. Thulsa then does attack, and the two of them take care of most of the attack party with ease. I can't believe how well these horses handle these surprise falls.
Oh, every time I'm like, the horse! Oh, the horse is good. Okay.
I
Horse is
really
okay.
thought like that horse's legs have to be broken.
I thought
But
they
nope,
cut
then
the
they
legs
just
off, and that's why it fell. But apparently the horses just were really good at bailing out.
I can't believe horses can do this.
Yeah.
Like, that they can roll around and fall like that. Like, and it's not like it was a trained thing. Like there was an explosion, it got spooked, it fell over, and then it's like, oh no, I'm good. Like, oh my god, I don't really
Horses
like it.
were harmed.
Nope.
I'd rather use fake horses.
They used
And-
fake everything else.
A very angelic and shiny, ghostly apparition of Conan's girlfriend saves him from being killed by one of the rockers. Salsa cowardly runs away when he is the only one left.
That didn't make any sense when she just came out of nowhere. Like, what?
Forever.
Whoa.
Oh, what? How the hell did you get into there? What? You're a god now?
Like, yeah.
You just died. Can you give me a little bit of space, please?
She's like, I'm here.
She's like, I beat
gone.
everyone in hell. I'm already back.
But
Let's
then
do
also,
this.
but also gone then.
Yeah. I think he was just seeing things. So maybe he was into her. I don't know, but I didn't get it. Conan once again infiltrates Thulsa's mountain and sneaks up on him while he's giving a speech to all of his followers. Huh?
That's right. I thought the movie was going to end.
I thought it was too. I was like, cool. He's going to be the villain in the next movie too.
Real quick, the other scene, there was a really great when the guy with the hammer showed up and he hit Conan and he's on the horse and he just goes, he's coming and just boom, boom, and he just falls down. It's like, wow, okay.
It's like the whack-a-mole game in the arcade.
The booby traps that they set up with the one that there's like the thing on the spring and it has a sharp stick and just impales the guy. Oh.
And all the spiky things that people were. It was the combat was violent.
Pretty violent. Yeah.
It was very well planned.
No, violent in the message it was sending across.
Right.
Nobody swung a sword faster than this.
I don't think there wasn't even a single like sword fight, was there?
And then blood just exploding.
Right. The blood effects are pretty good too, though.
Not based on how they were swinging.
Right. There was no hacking with the sword. It was just
like
cutting
slice
necks
and explosion.
Yeah.
The best one was when she was fighting back at the temple, and he just kind of like put her sword between the guy's arms and then just kind of brought it back.
Yeah.
He just like exploded.
And it's like it looked so effortless.
Yeah.
Like how sharp is your
very sharp.
A barbarian sword is sharper than any other object on the planet. Did you not know this?
I see.
It's a fact of life.
And so back at Thulsa Doom's.
Yes, Conan sneaks up behind Thulsa as he is giving a speech to all of his cultists, and Thulsa tries to convince him that Conan will be nothing without him. He's like, my son, you need me. Look, I made you. You are who you are because I set you on this path. And after giving a brief thought to that, Conan decapitates Darth Vader. Thulsa, in front of all of his followers. But not with one. Maybe his sword isn't that sharp because it didn't take one swing. It took like 4 to get this head off. And he holds it up and he throws it down and everyone's like, oh, well, screw this. I guess I'm going to go home. And they all just leave.
I'm really sad because I was like, throw the head, please throw the head. And he threw it and it hit and it started rolling. I really wanted it to roll all the way down. Just
like
stay on that shot.
From Ace Ventura 2.
Is that what happens?
He's like at a monk's temple and there's like a billion stairs.
Yeah.
And he has a slinky at the top and he pushes it and it's just tumbling for like hours.
So like that. That's what I wanted.
Oh, yeah. But no, it just sort of laid there. And then he sets the temple on fire and that's the end of the movie.
Also, I love how he set the thing on fire and threw it just barely to the top of the stairs where a lot of other fire was.
Right.
It didn't hit anything or catch anything, and then everything just started catching on fire.
This marble temple caught on fire. Like, huh? Okay, cool. But yeah, you don't see him like pouring gasoline all over the place or anything.
Except when she lit the cloth with the candle, and that thing just I was like, oh, they drenched that in something.
Kerosene. But then at the end, we do also see a very cool picture of Conan later in life as a king, where they're like, he will later become a self-made king, but that's a story for another time. And
that
dope
picture, that shot was the best thing in this movie.
For sure.
Like if somebody showed that and was like, let me make that movie, I'd be like, yeah. And then they're like, look what I made. And I'd be like, no, you got to put that in it somewhere though.
So, next up is Conan the Destroyer, the sequel to this movie. Like, it is next in line.
Is he a king in that?
I don't know. Are we excited for it?
I don't know.
I guess let's get into to the 2 movies. We have the Jayne Mansfield story and Conan the Barbarian.
Shall I go first?
Let's give our thoughts and then we'll vote. Yeah.
I really wanted to see where they were going when the guy turned into a snake.
Like what was in the hole?
Yeah. What was the whole point of that? And why did he not turn into
point?
Snake at any other point.
Yeah. What Why didn't he never turn into a snake again? What?
I don't know.
Where were they going with that?
I'm glad he
still
didn't.
bother that
So
that wasn't explored more.
I looked it up and I realized the genre of this movie is one of which I don't think I've ever seen before, and I don't think exists anymore. It's considered a sword and sorcery film.
Oh.
That's the genre, sword and sorcery, which is like Dungeons and Dragons. I feel like we have way more specific stuff than that now.
Well, I would
Fantasy
consider Game
sword.
of Thrones that sword and sorcery.
It's not that though. Even though technically, like, there's something
Kind of
I think about the.
There's like magical stuff
Yeah.
going on.
No. I think in terms of there's swords and there's sorcery, but I don't think you would call that a sword and sorcery piece. I think there's like a specific tone that existed around the 80s that was very much sword and sorcery, like this movie.
Yeah.
I
And
can't
I think
think of
it
another
doesn't
movie.
exist because it was so bad.
Well, Game of Thrones has a lot more like politics to it, which is kind of what makes it intriguing.
It's more fantasy.
Yeah.
Right? Like sword and sorcery, you could say is an offset of fantasy, maybe.
It's just a lot more fleshed out, too.
Yeah.
I mean, the period in time could be exactly the same, but they just had the resources to actually make everyone have like more to look at. You know, bigger buildings, fancier buildings. You know, it's
real weapons.
Yeah. Elephants. Oh, just
foam weapons. Seriously, in this movie,
I
could see the foam.
I can get over that.
No weight to the weapons. No, when your entire movie is about combat, and that's not good.
You invest in the combat.
Yeah, do you even hear like the clinking of swords at once?
Nope.
Yeah.
The sounds of everything hitting is nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah.
I'll say it right now. This might be the worst movie I've ever seen.
Not a chance. Are you serious?
Hercules.
You are
Hercules
insane, dude. This movie's really not that bad.
This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Oh my god. Maya, did you dislike it that much?
Okay. I am in the boat of that was a painful movie to watch.
Painful.
I actually quite liked it.
But it is absolutely so enjoyable to talk about.
Yeah, it's fun to talk about.
Of course.
For sure.
I will never watch that again.
Hercules in New York was fun to talk about too, but I do think.
I laughed watching Hercules in New York. I didn't laugh watching this movie.
But like you said, I don't think you're meant to. It's not a comedy.
Neither of them are. I got more enjoyment laughing at Hercules in New York than I did painfully. This movie felt like a slog. No talking, no context. The things that were good were executed horribly.
Okay, now that
the
you're saying
story
all this,
was not.
yeah.
I hated this movie. I hated this movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Like with honestly, passion. And it makes me sad that this is Arnold's breakout because I don't even think his performance was that good. I think his performance was better in Stay Hungry.
Yeah, I agree.
Like this just, I was shocked.
Especially
honestly.
now in this, because he's already retired from
bodybuilding.
He's still bodybuilding, but he's retired from the competitive. Like he's not as big even. Like he is like toned down a bit more. Like he's just not like as physically impressive.
His dialogue, his emotion, all of that was worsely executed in this. Mm-hmm. Maybe this was the most he's had to do in a movie. But
so was everybody else's. So I wonder if it was like the directing.
And I'm not putting that on him.
The character was just not great.
Bad. The writing, everything.
The writing
about
was bad. There's a lot of bad.
But I'll tell you guys. I liked both of these movies. And I liked them pretty equally to the point where I didn't know how I was going to vote. And I was like, wow, is there actually a chance that Jayne Mansfield might win this week? And it's sounding like it might.
Going into this,
go ahead and vote.
Going into this, I didn't want to watch Jayne Mansfield. I didn't want to, I was like, oh, TV movie. This doesn't, oh my God. I learned something. Yep. Arnold was great. Yep. It was entertaining. I would even argue, I would say I was, at the beginning of that movie, I was like, but as it got going, I was like, okay, I'm kind of into this story. We're learning about somebody too. And that I think is bigger than I realized.
Yeah.
I thought Conan the Barbarian, I guess maybe I went into it having higher expectations for it. I was like, oh, I think this is going to be really good. And it was just slow, and I'm not sure how the scenes really fit together for the most part.
Yeah.
And
I actually had lower expectations, and I think I expected to feel more the way you guys feel, where like nothing happened. There was no talking. I didn't expect any dialogue in this movie. I thought there were going to be a bunch of like cavemen grunting at each other for the entire thing.
Why would there not
which
be
is not
dialogue?
what happened.
yeah, Barbarians.
The only
can
movies
speak.
I don't expect dialogue are silent films.
I was expecting like cavemen who just bash each other's heads in and.
Okay.
No, I was expecting like an epic Lord of the Rings type, but like muscle man sword story.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to go and fight the witch, and then I'm going to go to the wizard. And it was just.
I was pretty disappointed that the villain was just this like evil wizard king.
He was scary though.
He was
had,
scary.
Like, oh yeah, he was. And I'm glad it was James Earl Jones. But yeah, I feel you guys. I get you.
Like, I don't get how the snakes connect to the like religious aspect of his community.
None of it is supposed. This is a cult hit film. That I looked it up. I'm like, how was this received? And it was like mixed reviews. Got negative based on the violence. And I looked that up towards the end of the movie. Yeah. And it was so interesting. I was like, damn, yeah, this would have been considered really grotesque and violent in the 80s. It is so like poorly executed to today's standards. Yeah. None of it even seems real to be violent. But at the same time, there were a lot of scenes we looked away from. Even when he was crucified and stuck in there with the nails, like that was pretty brutal. The biting of the necks, both the guy at the beginning and the vulture.
Oh god, yeah. Oh, and then he just like, eats it and spits it out.
Stuff like that. The decapitations were like so laughably fake. The bodies that it was like.
I mean, thank God, right?
But I mean, it like cut body like really. Some of the edits.
It must have been good enough that it warranted a sequel only a couple years later.
In 1982, I think it's definitely like. Context matters and time when stuff comes out.
I'm just saying for the time even it must have been received.
I wish it was shorter because
it was too long.
It was long. It was over 2 hours.
Yeah. And there were gaps, like you said, where like just even in the opening scene, they were staring at each other for 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's bad.
You're like, wait.
I think what's
gonna happen? And I really thought she was gonna be like this badass warrior. His mom.
Yeah, she was lame. Oh, his mom.
Then,
she just died.
And for that outcome to just happen, where she just like, that's what we were waiting for. That's what the suspense was building up to.
No payoff with the wizard narrator being that guy. Like once we met him, that was over.
Yeah, once we found out that was him, and like he's my master, I'm like, oh cool, this guy's gonna have a major part. No, I just sort of questioned whether he was a wizard or not. Like he didn't do anything. No. When they put him in that armor and he's like cowering, I'm like, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
It feels like character buildup was like rushed.
Yes, I was gonna say I feel like this could have been split into a couple movies.
This is what I was gonna say. I think that the over 2 hours length came from the 30 or 40 minutes at the beginning, from him being a kid to him being freed. Like that really was just like we got to really set him up, and I would have rather them be like, kid got killed, he's buff now, he's a guy. I think that was too much.
Yeah, we didn't need to see the backstory necessarily.
Or just see it quicker.
Yeah, like the backstory was his father and in his town, like
getting killed.
Yeah, right.
And then him just being a child warrior for 20 years alone, pushing this thing, never revolting back against. Like you didn't need to be a slave. Also, why'd they let him get that big? Like it just doesn't make sense.
I think they wanted.
I thought he was a mutant. Also,
they were right. It did seem like it.
I was like, oh, they never taught him to speak.
His father does speak to him, yeah, but I did think he was going to be a mute also.
They eventually did, right? Remember?
I guess.
Well, shall we vote? I don't think we have a question on which way this is going, but
I think you should vote first, Jordan.
Yeah, we don't.
I enjoyed Jayne Mansfield a lot more than I thought I was going to, and like you said, I liked Arnold more, and I learned about something. Like you said, I could totally echo all your points, so I vote Jayne.
Maya?
Jayne. All the way.
3-0. Jayne Mansfield beats Conan the Barbarian.
I would call this an upset. Going in,
absolutely
would have predicted this. I
As
also
of last week, like we didn't even necessarily know if it was going to be on the list.
Exactly. And that's all I was thinking was like, wow, I'm really glad because I had wanted to put both Conan movies up. That way, you know, we're going to get a Conan movie to advance. I'm so happy we've split the Conan movies across 2 weeks so that they can both get eliminated. That's where I'm at.
I was
going
really
into
expecting
the
at the
sequel.
end to have both of them going up each other in the bracket, but nope, this one didn't even make it. And oh my god, next week is Conan 2 and Terminator. So good luck, Conan.
Exactly.
Oh man. Well,
Terminated.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm very
Hasta la
much looking
vista.
forward to it. Yeah, like I
Conan.
said, next week is Conan the Destroyer and Terminator. Probably one of the most iconic movies of all time. We will be
Wait.
picking between the two, sending it on to a bracket that we will then work on at the last episode of this series at the end of the 20 weeks, and we'll pick an overall winner for all of these Arnold movies. Let us know which one you preferred of these two if you've seen them both. Which is your favorite Arnold movie in general? Do you guys have any other points before I outro?
Nope.
I got nothing.
All right. Well, please like
I can't believe it.
I'm
Which
shocked,
I
but I'm happy.
wrote
I'm very
down
happy.
as I feel like I've heard Arnold say I can't believe it a lot, and I'm going to keep track of that as we continue to watch. There was something about when he said I can't believe it that I feel like I've heard you say that so many times.
He does.
I haven't confirmed that, but I'm going to keep an eye out for that throughout the rest of our movie. I can't believe it.
Please believe in us. Please like and subscribe and share this with your friends if you're enjoying. We have a podcast that we do on this channel called the Hebrew Rebels Podcast. It is on any podcast streaming service if you want to listen to it, but it's also on YouTube for the video version. We also do Rebels React to other movies and shows. We'll be doing The Mandalorian next week. Next Thursday night, Friday morning, we will be doing The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1. So please stick around for that. But until then, my name is Jordan.
And my name is Ethan.
And my name is Maya.
We are the Huber Rebels. Stay tuned.
Conan Smash. No, I don't think that's
Hulk
okay.
smash, Conan.